Here we go. Hey, this your boy Humble Dad. Welcome back to another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. Got a good show, great show, matter of fact. Why? Because I said so. And it's like this. We're going to talk about generational curses. We're going to talk to some individuals that I've talked to before and some I haven't talked to before. And I think it's going to be a really interesting and interesting dialogue. And I'm ready to see what people got to say. You know how we do? We introduce everybody one by one. And we're going to start with people that are not paying attention. All right. And we're going to start with Mr. Trigger Mike. I'm just kidding. You was paying attention. You was ready to go. All right. You ready? So, question we got is if you could live in any sitcom, which one would it be?
Live in any sitcom. That's a good one. I'd probably say Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay. Tell me why.
I mean the whole situation in that show was fly, right? Not something your typical black family would go through in America, right? And especially in that time. So big old house, good school, fly girls, right? So, a lots of opportunity. That's really the way I look at it. So starting off on a high note. Because I was gonna say something like Family Matters, but weren't they in Chicago? Hell no. Hell no.
Way to start it off.
Fresh Prince all day.
That's a fact. All right. Welcome to the stage. We got a newbie, Miss Kelly Neal Jackson. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
Doing well. You got the question?
If I could live in any sitcom right now, it would be Sisters.
Okay.
Tyler Perry's Sisters. And the reason I say that is just about the sisterhood and just navigating through life stressors, life happy times, life moments, going through relationships, and just having those sisters to just have your back through whatever life has thrown at you. And it's really based on what Black women, period, that are going through on a day-to-day basis.
That's a bet. Thank you for sharing. All right. Next up to the stage, we got Mr. Prototype. What's good, from family?
What's up?
I'm chilling. Glad you're here, man.
Happy to be here. If I was live on a sitcom, that's the question, right?
Yes, sir.
I would probably go with Blackish.
Okay.
My family is a lot like Dre's, and I relate a lot to the character.
Okay.
Even in where I've come and how I've been able to progress. So it would probably be Blackish. How my family's set up and how I live my life is similar.
That's a bet. All right. Well, thanks for sharing. Welcome to the stage, Mr. RJD. How's it going, sir? You're on mute. Or your sound is out. Technology be doing things, man, for no reason. We'll come back to you. All right. Okay. Hey, here we go. Mr. Dwayne in the dark. After dark. Okay.
Hitting nothing but red lights.
For sure.
Oh, there we
You
go.
got the question? We can see your glasses,
yes,
though.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
I'll say it's gonna be Fresh Prince. So Trigger beat me to it. Yes. It didn't look like there was too much struggling there.
So why Fresh Prince?
Hey, shoot, I live out in the what guest house. Shoot, once you have a guest house, you've made it.
So you saying you don't want to pay no bills? I got you. Okay, that's basically what
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. If it wasn't for those bills, man, I tell you,
life would be sweet. I got you. Okay, that's a bet. And we gonna come back to RJD. You got it, bro?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now? Good. All right, awesome. I'm gonna say the Cosby Show, man. I'm gonna say the Cosby Show. I didn't grow up in a house with a father and a mother in the household, and I always wondered what that felt like, the dynamic and what it felt like. So whenever I seen the show, I really, really wanted to be in it as a child. So I'm gonna go with the Cosby Show. Oh, you on mute, Humble Dad.
I was trying to be polite because I be talking through people's stuff sometimes. I would say, for me, The show that I probably would enjoy being on. I thought about Fresh Prince. I did think about that. But I'm going with Different World.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because I didn't go to a black college. Not saying that I would prefer to go to one, but it was so many different experiences that I saw on the show that I actually experienced and didn't know that I would experience. From having a girlfriend, having fraternity or being in a fraternity, being racially profiled, just a whole bunch of different situations that took place on that episode on the show that I could see myself being on there and living out some of those things that would take place. Yeah. So that's me. All right. And then we're going to welcome to the stage Miss Shay. You ready?
I'm ready. How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing good. You got the question?
I did not get the question.
Okay. So the question is, if you could live in any sitcom, which one would it be?
What everybody else say?
You should have been here.
I know. I was working. Someone called me.
I don't know. You good for working? You know what I'm saying? You just got to tell us what's your answer.
A sitcom. Maybe My Wife and Kids. I don't know.
Okay. My Wife and Kids. Why?
Because the whole family thing and the different issues and the comedy that they talked about. So yeah. You're on mute.
Why did I go back on mute? All right. So the first question of this evening is, what do you like that your kids enjoy? What do you like that your kids enjoy? And we're going to start with RJD.
What do I like that my kids enjoy?
Yes.
There's a lot, but what that comes to my mind right away is cuddling, believe it or not. Like my household, like we are big cuddlers. Like my wife and I started this culture when they was babies, because when they came around, we were just so happy to have them. We was single and in that honeymoon phase for a very long time in our relationship. So when they came around, we was ready to love on them. So from infants on up, just cuddle, cuddle, cuddle. So now my daughter will call me in the middle of the day, "Daddy, where are you? I feel like cuddling." So that's the one thing, man.
All right, you choose who goes next.
Oh, all right. So I'm gonna go over to Shay.
I was hoping I would get in towards the very end. So I like sports, and my son really enjoys sports. So it's a great way for us to connect. And I just started liking to cook, and so my son likes to cook. So we connect on that as well. All right, Kelly. What you got, Kelly?
I'm gonna go with sports too. I like the fact that my daughter enjoys basketball because it's like my first sport that I played and absolutely love the game. Even if my child is not playing, I love to go watch others play, whether it's big league, little league. I just love the game of basketball.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So basketball is specific or sports? All sports?
I can do all sports, but I'm gonna say basketball specific.
Okay, that's a bet. Who you got going next?
All right, we're gonna go with Prototype. Let's go. You on the line, you on the stage.
No, so I'm gonna go with I guess cooking, man. So like once a week I make pizza from scratch. And it's kind of a part of who I am, and like it reminds me where I come from, because I used to like sweep a pizzeria floor when I was a kid, and that's how I would make extra money, you know what I mean, and pass out flyers and stuff. So I learned how to make pizza. So when I like make pizza from scratch, they get in on it, like they want to like help me with the dough. You know, they're like, let me support the sauce, and I kind of enjoy that process. You know what I mean? So we have pizza night, you know, where I make it from scratch. So that's kind of one of our things.
What's the toppings?
Well, we don't eat pork, so you know, I'll normally make 2 pizzas and one plain, the other with veggies, or you know, if I'm getting fancy, you know what I'm saying, I might throw some shrimp in there or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That's what's up. All right, who you got next?
Let's go with Trigger Mike.
All right, bet. What do I like that my kids enjoy? I will actually go with African culture. So it's 2 things going on there because I didn't always like my culture. When you growing up, you know, as first generation American kids, and let me not be shy about it. Black kids make you very insecure about being African. All that African booty scratches and stuff that y'all used to call me, you know what I mean? It made me very insecure about my culture when I was young. I didn't like wearing the clothes, you know, when we had to go to events. I was like, I don't want to wear it and all that type of stuff. But now it's cool. And then, you know, as I grew up, that completely went away, you know, but now it's cool to be African, right? Afro beats, WizKid, all this stuff. My kids love the music. My daughter and my son can't wait to put on African clothes. So, you know, that to me is like a night and day experience from when I was young. And I mean, you got to see it. She's asking grandma to send her more custom made, like, you know, that type of stuff. So I'm really glad they enjoy that because I enjoy it too, you know, and I want them to be fully immersed in that for the entirety of their lives.
That's what's up. Thanks for sharing. Hey, Dwayne, it's on you, homie.
I say wrestling. Yeah. Like getting on the floor and wrestling. Yeah. Is that we still on that same question?
Yeah, we on there. How many R's you putting
Let
on
me
there?
get my
Wrestling. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. I don't like
why
being
wrestling? Why wrestling?
Well, with Daniel, you know, he's all high energy. Okay, yeah. So he's extra high energy. So, like, I find that a way now to get on the floor, roll around for a little bit, put them in leg locks, choke holds, and like, hey, y'all got to get out of this, and they love that. So even Naya, she see the boys down there getting into it. You want to jump into it too. I can't. One thing I can't stand though, I don't like being tickled. I don't like that. Don't tickle me. Don't tickle me. But they love it, right? So just as long as I'm doing the tickling, we good. Once they start tickling me, I'm like, hey, we done.
I'm with you.
Party over with it, right?
Yeah, we done now.
I do not like being tickled myself. I hate when my son does. He loves to be tickled, but when he tickles me, I get so upset. But I've always been like that.
Hey, Dwayne, I caught you too. It's twofold. So that you playing with them, you also burn that energy out.
Exactly. Yeah. We got a dog. We got to take him for a walk. For them,
I'm gonna have to second that too. Wrestling is a huge thing. I have 3 boys in my house. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing but Royal Rumble, getting it on. Like they act like they slam me. Like it's an all day thing. Of wrestling at any given moment. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm a huge punching bag to them. Like,
so do y'all have injuries that result from it sometimes, like some accidental injuries?
Casualty of war.
Because my son and his dad, they love to wrestle, but I'm like, y'all too rough. It's just too rough. Like he gave his dad a black eye, and his dad's like, "You the only man that ever gave me a black eye." You know, like
yo, I don't know how me and my brother made it through life without traumatic brain injuries, man. Like we used to go in and that house, like some of the ways, especially when our parents weren't home, it was bad. Like, I can't believe I didn't break your spine. Like, damn.
Yo, listen, if it wasn't for those little sayings after wrestling, they might have some lawsuits because WWF and WWE is responsible for a lot of my cousin's injuries because that rock bottom.
The Stone Cold Stunner out of nowhere. He wasn't expecting
the DDT.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, for me, the thing that my kids enjoy that I enjoy is studying the Bible. One of the things that we do, I don't know how long it's been, maybe like 4 or 5 years. we have a Bible study in the morning, maybe 15 to 30 minutes a night or more a day. And I just read the scripture to them, and then they have to tell me what it is that they got from it. And then we'll just dialogue about what it is that their takeaway is. And matter of fact, I just had this question with my kids, and Dwayne knows Joshua. Shay might know, but he's a very intellectual dude, and so he processes things from a scriptural standpoint. And I was like, "Where you get that from, bro?" And he said, "Well, it's from the Bible studies that we have. You know, like I really enjoyed those because it allows me to think from a biblical perspective." So that's the thing that I enjoy that they enjoy, because they don't really like sports like that. They like baseball. I don't like baseball. I'm into basketball. So, and then my daughter, Gianna, I have 4 for those that don't know. Gianna, she loves to read. I love to read, but she like to read like cat books. You know what I'm saying? That's just not me, but you know.
How old is Joshua, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, not at all. Joshua's 11.
Oh, okay.
Gianna is 13. Ethan is 8, and Jordana is 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the reason I'm asking you about Joshua, because my son, he's on the intellect sides on certain stuff, and like he questions a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's Josh. He
And-
questions things about me being a man and
Oh, wow.
being a husband and being a dad. Like he'll ask me those type of questions. Like what is it like that being, you know, what is it like being a dad? What was it like when you was 11? Like,
He's gonna be a phenomenal father, bro.
I appreciate that. That's what he thinks about. He thinks about how can him being a dad, him being a husband.
Oh, man.
All of them to some degree, because that's how we raised them. And so, and I learned that from talking to people like y'all. Like, how can I get better at what I do? So, all right. So here we go. Y'all ready for the next question, right? So the next question we got is, what type of father would be best for you right now? What type of father would be best for you right now? I'm gonna let you think about that for a moment.
I don't need to think.
Okay, go ahead.
A rich one. If I had a rich plugged in father, man, just money, I can make anything into $1 billion business at this point in my life. Give me the seed money. You know what I mean? So I got cousins, I got rich uncles, I got all that. But you know, for some reason, I'm afraid to like go to them, because it's like, nah. If my dad actually, you know, is done pretty well for himself in life, but he's not in the same field that I'm in. So nothing, you know, every time I tell him what I'm doing, you just see that puzzled look on his face, and I'm like, nah. So, you know, the businesses I have started, the ones that I want to bring to scale, if I had a rich daddy right now, that would solve a lot of problems in my life. Like loaded, like here's $5 million, go do it. You know, that type of.
I got you. Who you got going next? This dude said a rich dad.
Let's go with Dwayne.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd say one that will call me on my BS. So he knows me best. So all my procrastinating and all that extra stuff, I'm like, hey, there you go again. There you go again. So yeah, no, one will give me a good talking to, you know, whenever he see I'm messing up, what I could do better. So,
do you think you would listen?
Oh, I ain't got no choice. I'll put it like that. Acting on it, that would be the So in it, it's like, yeah, I'll listen. And as for the listening part, then it goes to consideration. And then from consideration, then it goes to implementation. So just the ability to have that input allows me that avenue.
That's what's up. Who you got going next, homie?
Come on, Shay. What you got?
All right, I'm ready this time. So, you know, my father passed. So when I think about the type of father that I need, one that I need right now will be one that would speak life into me. I'm a single mother, right? And so I think when you're a single mother, you're operating in kind of a role that you shouldn't be operating in, right? And having to make certain decisions for your family that you necessarily shouldn't have to do, right? Or have to do alone. So I think at times that is very tough. So one that would speak life and just being able to encourage me as I'm going through, this season, raising my son, taking care of my family, building my business, etc. That's what I would need right now. Just overly loving and definitely one that can listen and show up, show up and be there whenever I need for all the men things that I shouldn't be doing. So to show up and take care of that. Yeah. Come on, Prototype.
Man, the question, what type of father will best fit me? It would be one that I could identify with. Somebody who looks like me, talks like me, intellectual. I could ask a question to. I could see my future. I just never had that guy to identify with. You know what I'm saying? Either whether it be how they look, how they move, how they talk, how they walk. Just one that I could identify and see my future in. So yeah, that would be the dad that would best fit me.
Okay. Who you got going next?
Let's go with the Imperfect Gentleman.
All right. Well, so coming from a dude without one, I would just want one that's transparent and present. I want the father that's going to show like his flaws. The father that's gonna lead from like not from a theory but example. And just someone's gonna be there like when I need him. When I was growing up, I counted it as a badge of honor, like not having a father, right? Because how society raised us. So I took it as a badge of honor that I was creating my legacy from me, right? Like I'm the seed that would start the legacy. But the older I get and the more I go forward and my children get older, the lessons that I don't even have myself, I feel that I have to learn some way now. And I would love to have a gentleman like call a father be there to show me those blind spots that I don't see, right? I'm being hit by a lot of things right now that I feel like had I had someone to show me, the blow wouldn't be as bad. So transparent and present kind of father I would need right now currently. So if you're out there, holla at me. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. It said if you're out there,
That's dope though, the blind spots, because I know as men there are things, we always talk about on the show how having a father is so important. But there are things that they would have that wisdom to be able to guide, fathers with. So that's dope.
So who you got going next?
All right, I'm gonna go over to Kels.
Hey, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off on what you said. Even though I have a relationship with my father, but I still feel like transparency. Like I'm very transparent with whomever, but I feel like transparency and someone I could look up to as far as being that true father figure. You know what I mean? Like, it's like every girl's a daddy's girl. I don't feel like I'm a daddy's girl type of woman. I'm not like one of those type of women like the dude I'm with now. I don't feel like he has to ask my dad for my hand in marriage, even though I would want it like that. But that's not the type of, you know what I mean? That's not the type of
relationship.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a relationship. I just actually talked to my father yesterday. Found out he was in town in Dallas on Facebook because I seen that he was in Euless at a golf course, and I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, you in town? You ain't hit me up?" Like, he lives in Mississippi. Like, you in town and you ain't.
Wow.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like that, like be like truly be the example. And I feel like he has 4 kids, 2 different marriages, but like my younger sister is not talking to him now, and I'm like, yo, you gotta kill it. Like, I hit her up because she was in Mississippi this past weekend. She lives in Georgia, and I was like, yo, your dad in town. She was like, I don't fool with that man. Like, but just being that true father figure, you know what I'm saying? And I especially feel like that for the Black girls, the Black women, you know what I'm saying? We need that. And especially because it helps us, I feel like, navigate when we get into relationships and stuff like that, and marriages and stuff like that. So I feel like I would need, like, in life right now, a transparent father, a real father figure, someone to show me how it is living in a household, to show me how marriage looks like. You know what I mean? How it is to raise children. So
That's good. Somebody had something they wanted to say or add on to that?
No, I was saying that's real. Like everything that you said was real. Because even when my father was alive, I still really didn't fool with him like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like your sister. I'm like, I don't fool with him, And then when he passed, I didn't even cry. It was just like, oh dang, he passed. Like,
yeah.
So maybe if he would have had more of a presence, right, then I would have had a different reaction.
Yeah.
Hey, it's crazy, and I'm not gonna cry. This past weekend, my best friend took his life, and it's crazy because as I'm sitting here listening to all the kind of fathers that we would want, that's part of the reason why I know he took his life. Like, he just had a hunger for someone just to be there for him, you know what I'm saying? And to be transparent, like to show. That's why I was like, man, like if if we knew how valuable this conversation is, man, like there are people out there like our age and younger with father and mother wounds that are literally dying on the inside to the point where they don't have any hope for tomorrow, man. So this conversation is right on time today, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of oh, you can go ahead. I think that was Dwayne. You was about to say something.
No, it's Prototype. So I have the podcast Prototype Dad, and a huge reason on why that podcast was started is because me and my peers realized like we're raising each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're each other's dad going through life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like none of us ever feel comfortable with having, with that dad that was there or whatever. Like I'm named after somebody who's not even genetically tied to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's wild, like to even just us going through life. I'm like, I dealt with this. This might how you want to handle this, and we're like just feeding off each other. None of us we're like the blind, just carrying the blind to all these different things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nobody ahead of any of us. The whole panel, like there's nobody ahead of us to actually give us any sound advice, because either we've outgrown our parents or they were just not good parents, or they didn't show up, or they're not exist. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of wild just hearing it. You know what I mean? And it's definitely sad.
And when she said, Shay, you said about you didn't cry, and that's the reason I brought it up, is that I've had people that led me. Like, shout out to my pastor. Like, he passed away, and I cried, and it hurt, but it didn't, not the way this one did, because in the midst of that relationship, like there was love and there was interactions between me and my best friend that obviously I didn't have with my pastor. And man, those is what brought those tears down, those memories of those intimate moments of when we were both feeling some kind of way and we didn't have no one else to talk to, and those secrets and all those things. And that's where all that real love comes from, those intimate spaces and those opportunities of having love and conversations.
Yeah, you know, my dad was there, and I tell you, I get on a lot of panels, especially like I'm actually gonna stop pretty soon. I get on the ones late night where everybody's just not like-minded and talking trash about fatherhood, parenthood, and how we should leave it all behind and all that stuff. And they like to come for the married guys, right? And be like, why did you choose that life? This, that, and the third. And one of the reasons I did so is because everything that has happened to me in my life is testament to why I behave the way that I do and the decisions that I've made. Most notably, when I was like 14, for some reason, everybody knew that was moving into the neighborhood and into the townhome complex that we lived in. They were moving in with their mom because their parents just got divorced. It was like one after the other. So, all these kids were my age, and I saw how they felt when their father went and started a new family. They didn't see him as much. He got a new wife now. Like, you should just see the look on this kid's face and how they were just different from the time before they found out to after. And all, like, it's those occurrences, those things in my life where I was just like, I don't want to do that to my children. Like, you see? So a lot of people don't understand that you got to have that type of foresight to be like, wow, I really took inventory of everything that was happening to my friends emotionally at that time, to guide my own life and say, I'm not going to do that. I think what we're learning in America right now, because to be honest, it's only the West. This is a Western problem. We think a lot of people think it's foolish enough to say you don't need a father in the home for the children. Fathers are now proven to be, probably like it's like stages, right? Mothers are most important during infancy and the toddler stage, but to a child's development for the rest of their life, the dad he's the one, right? So after that point, it's like you may be missing a critical part of yourself that is going to need to get developed if somebody else steps up to fill that role. But look at the stress we're putting on the community by asking all these men to do all this for these boys. It's supposed to be each one teach one. I got my own boys, you know what I mean? That type of thing. It's supposed to be each man taking care of their own home, and we would be thriving that way, so.
So
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead,
Trigger
Tia.
Mike,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, all what you were saying. But I feel like as far as like you have some, I could get like, I have one friend whose father was in the household, but wasn't so much effective.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, because you can have some fathers in the household that aren't,
So,
you know what I mean? They
yeah.
aren't really like,
And what do you mean by not
not pouring,
effective?
like not really pouring into the children, like
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just there physically.
just there physically. Like my friend, she was kind of a promiscuous girl.
I was like, you got to give us details now. Go ahead. Don't be afraid.
I mean, like she was promiscuous. Y'all know what
Yeah.
a promiscuous
Sure.
girl is.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say for myself, my first was my husband. What was my ex-husband? So I wasn't having sex in high school. She was promiscuous in that sense, like, you know what I'm saying, dealing with different dudes. And I feel like, if you having an effective father in a household, I don't think that she would have went that route so much.
Yeah.
He
Naturally.
wasn't pouring life.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking to her like that, pouring life into her. And that's why I mean, like, that goes back to what um Imperfect Gentleman was saying, like, I need like a transparent father. And that's what I mean by me, like, as far as for me, I needed that transparent father. Hey, Kelly, like, to be real with me, like, baby girl, you can wait on sex. You don't have to have that. Thank God that he blessed me with the type of personality that I did have, and the mother that I did have, because I waited. Now, of course I didn't wait till I was married. It happened before I was married, but I think, and it goes to what you were saying, like prototype. I think what hurt me the most, like during my divorce, was me, and it's about to bring up tears because it still hurts now. Like, you want something different for your children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in a single parent household. So you don't want that for your children. You don't want to keep repeating the cycle. You don't want you want your children to see mommy getting loved on, dad being praised for different types of things. You don't want your children to see like, dang, mommy out here got to do this by herself. Mommy out here got to take us everywhere. And it goes on this statement of it takes a village. It truly does, because it gets overwhelming. Like, people committing suicide every day. The mind, y'all. Like, people don't understand the mind. We could get so overwhelmed in our mind, like tired. I'm tired. You know what I mean? So people don't understand about suicide, but like, I understand, not saying that I want to commit it or anything, but like, it get life get overwhelming. I think you was trying to say something in perfect, gentleman.
Well, I was gonna say, the thing about that village thing, right?
Mhm.
I completely agree. I think the village is so much emphasized though that we forget the pieces of the what makes the village.
Yes.
So I think the importance of fathers are just overlooked because all people think about is the village, the village, the village,
Mhm.
not understanding that a father is a part of this village.
Yeah.
And without the father, without fathers in the structure, the village don't the village don't work. And it just how they discredit the father's involvement so heavily is, I mean, that's essentially the destruction right there.
I mean,
That's true. Without the fathers,
yeah.
the village don't work. It doesn't.
Yeah, Kelly. So to your point, like I debate that point quite a lot because when I say what I say, I make that point. The next point is usually, well, there are some ineffective fathers. Well, there are also ineffective mothers, but you would rather them be there. You see what I'm saying? So it's weird because the optimal portion of what we want is always that father that's in tip top shape, that's doing all that. Everybody, unfortunately, doesn't get that. But the weird
Mhm.
part about it is, even an ineffective father, if you look at the way the statistics play out, the fact that he's there, the kids will be worse off. If he's not abusing the children and he's going to work every day, and like, to be honest, there was a part of my life I didn't speak to my dad. Like, I'm a first generation American. He was an immigrant. Dude worked. He was coming in the home after we were asleep and asleep when we went to school. I didn't see him till Sunday. We went to church together, ate together. You remember Old Country Buffet, Ryan's, all of that stuff. Yeah, we was in there heavy on Sunday. That was our day with dad. But I didn't see my dad all week. You know what I'm saying? So his philosophy ran the home. You know what I mean? My mom carried out his philosophy. So you knew you were getting disciplined if you went against that philosophy, but he wasn't always physically there, right? Working.
Yep.
So yeah, what's optimal is always what we want. But I'm telling you, even without his presence, the kids are usually worse off.
Yeah.
And mom too.
Wayne, I want to hear what you got to say because I know it's a good story behind those lenses.
Yeah. No, there's a thing as for know your enemy, and the family is the bedrock of America's society. And I came here from Jamaica when I was 8 years old, and I'm not sure if I've shared that on here before, but yeah, as for being an immigrant to this country, I see things a little differently than what Americans see it as, and I don't think that we realize how much our society is under attack. And I mean that as a whole, because as from an ideological standpoint, there's a lot of ideas that are drifting around here that is completely destructive to this whole society. And whenever it comes to home, that's where we see the most destruction. So there's a lot of talk about this is a problem, that is a problem, this is a problem, and there's not much talking about fatherless homes like on the mainstream type level. And I think that is one of the biggest issues. So, like for example, whenever a dad's not available to be at home, a lot of the things that y'all are sitting here mentioning does happen, as for ineffective fathers and all that. But I think there's a design to it and why. So for us as humans, we're relational beings. So we desire to fit in. So if someone's not showing us the attention at home, then we'll find it elsewhere. So some of these girls, they'll go out there and find it in these young men that are not up to no good. And then as for these young men, they'll find that attention, and some of them will join gangs, right? Because they'll show them that family aspect. It has that family aspect to it. So we'll have a lot of these people out here still gang banging, and it's a lifestyle. And I see that lifestyle is destructive to our society as a whole. And there's not much corrective action being put in place. And I think a lot of the times we look at the government as a solution, and honestly and truly, I look at it as a problem. Because a lot of these, even as for, we've talked about this before, social programs, a lot of social programs are put into place that are to our detriment. So like as for women, it's the government will step in and be your baby's daddy. Meanwhile, your baby daddy gets to not be a man and gets to go off and do boys stuff. Hang with their boys, chill and do all these other things where they're not present and they're completely rendered ineffective. So I do believe there's a design to this.
There's definitely a design to this, and I guess I didn't think about the point you just made, how men could be neglectful, right? Because what I listen to is that, men complaining about women being not submissive or this and that, or like it's a woman's choice to go depend on the government. And I would tell men all the time, like, you should be a better choice than the government. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's able to choose between the government and you're not doing that well.
Say it again, Prototype. That's a dope nugget.
Men should be a better choice than whatever government aid is out there. You know what I mean? And if a woman is choosing government assistance, child support over your actual presence and support and your hands at work and you in the home, then
yeah. So Prototype, that would be, because I agree, but that's also unfair. Like if we're talking about like the Black community in general, that's unfair to Black men. Here's why. We always tell Black men you got to be more to qualify for a woman. But look at our Hispanic counterparts just coming over to Rio Grande. That dude make $50 a day and comes home to a wife that washes his feet. So, you know what I mean? Why do I have to be all these things to deserve that from a woman? No, I get what you're saying.
They're not. A lot of them aren't getting it because they don't apply. I mean, because they're illegal. So the majority of them are illegal. So and then they come over with this history of culture with them. So if that's something they've had. You know what I mean? Yeah. Us with no history of culture. Yeah. Okay, now we got to be more. We got to understand that we're establishing who we are. And I'm not discrediting the government's plan to take us out. It was effective. It was effective. It worked. But from this point, we have to be better than it. Like I said, if a woman can choose, a woman's only going to choose her best option to take care of her offspring. You know what I mean? And
that's not true.
I was gonna say, that's where I have the point of contention.
Not true.
That is where I have the point of contention. That's where I'm saying that Black men are enough. If you look, so prior to 2020, we only listened to the women's version. Like Black men have been absent from media from 25 years, right? Nobody knew how we felt about anything until this manosphere space came out, right? So prior to 2020, we thought all Black men won't shit. We thought all of them had multiple baby mamas and all of us were womanizers, and most of us had kids. Turns out over 50% of the black men in the black community have 0 kids, none. Right? Most of us are in the middle class. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it begged the question. When
Here's the thing with that.
Hold on real quick. To add to Trigger Mike's point as well, that's also missing is that black men are known to be the number one involved
dads. So yeah, like those statistics came out, and you're like, whoa. So what it really showed was that's why me and my boys, right? I got my shit together. I don't know anybody that these women be talking about when they say dudes ain't shit. So that's why, and most of my boys be looking around. No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
You don't know.
No, this is what I'm saying.
We're gonna go one at a time.
This is what I'm saying. I realize, and it's not to blame women, it's that women are making bad choices. They're doing what they want to do versus what's good for them. That's why I can't say.
I think it's I
want to push back on that.
You can't speak for a woman, right? You can only give your opinion about a woman, but you can't speak from a woman's perspective because you're a man.
That's valid, Shay.
That's not what I'm doing, Shay. I'm using the statistics.
Here's statistics wise, what Prototype was saying is essentially if you have a choice, you're always going to choose what is more beneficial.
That's not true.
That's what women do. That's what women do.
So that's what. Okay,
that's what you're saying that women are not doing.
Like the women. No. What I'm saying is, in our community, we have women that are making bad choices for certain because of the government. You brought it up. The government in general. The government is purposely standing in the way to give the woman the choice. So we practice a lot of hedonism in our society, right? Women are able to get government money, not get the baby they want from the man they desire, right? Put him on child support. It's like a system rigged for them to use.
We can't, and I'm saying the same thing though. We have to be a better option than the government assistance, than the child support.
But I'm saying we already are.
Evidently not, because the woman is choosing to do otherwise.
No, so I'm saying.
Hold on real quick. So that's because y'all speaking and everybody can't speak at the same time. Yeah. So although you may disagree, you have to wait until the person finishes and then you counter the point, or else people can't understand what you're saying, right? Like my show is not like other people's show. Like we're gonna be very respectful and disagree respectfully. That's how it's gonna be. So Sugar Mike, kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay the
plane, and then Shay, you can respond, and then Prototype, you can respond after that.
Got you. So the reason why I said black men are already enough, and if I was just listening to the narratives from pre-2020, I would agree with everybody on this panel. But what it is that black men are no longer the brokest men in America. It's Hispanic men, right? So a Hispanic in their communities, marriage still exists and is upheld in the unit we've known it to be all this time. In every community where it functions, white men only make, I believe, on average $8,000 more than black men do. So black women are saying that we gave up on our men for $8,000, but in right behind us, people that make less than us are still married. So we can't really say that black men aren't enough and they need to do better when we already make more the people that keep their families intact. Right. So it's really disingenuous, and it's putting another rung on the ladder for black men to accomplish when we're already enough. The part that makes this really hard to accept for me is that I know that the average woman in America is not willing to live under what the average man can provide. She wants more. She wants luxury. Right. So she's saying the black man isn't enough and he should get more, when she's just not willing to live under what he could provide. If we were willing to have these IKEA marriages like the Hispanics and the Asians do, where you build yourself up and build that love that you're looking for, people think the love and situation they're looking for is found, it's built. You have to build it, and nobody in our community is willing to do that anymore because of the social media generation.
Shay, on you.
Sugar Mike, I'm over here laughing because I agree with you when you say marriage is built, but we're not saying that black men are not enough. We're saying that they have to be a better choice than the government. Okay, like what's so funny is I have always held it down for my son, right? And so this month I said, you know what? Every time my son asks me for something, I'm going to say, ask your daddy. Okay. So he had basketball. He had a basketball tournament. He had basketball fees. He had tutoring. He had therapy. Everything that he had to do this month, I said, ask your daddy. His daddy called me and said, why is it seeming like Vinny always asking for money and he always needs something all of a sudden? Why is it seeming like he's so expensive? I said, this ain't nothing new. I just been holding it down the whole time. All these expenses that Vinny have, he been having these expenses all year, every week. But you didn't know because I was holding it down. A lot of Black women hold it down. Hold it down, regardless if they are having government assistance or not. They are holding it down. And I can tell you, because I talk to a lot of successful Black women and a lot of struggling Black women. I'm in both circles. And I can tell you that if they did have a better choice, the government isn't a better choice because you have child support. If the baby is on Medicaid, Medicaid pulls out money from child support. So that little $200, $300 isn't enough. Like, there are so many expenses that come with raising a child, which many of you all know because y'all doing it. Child support is only 20%. What woman really wants that unless you are talking to Nick Cannon or Tristan Thompson or something like that? Nobody is going for the government assistance because they want to get a couple $100 on food stamps and some Medicaid. It's if the men were truly a better choice, because there are way more expenses than medical insurance and food. Let's be honest.
What
So,
you got, brother? Okay, my bad, Shay.
you know, if there was a better choice, then they would choose better. So the Black men have to, it's not saying that they're not enough. Black men are enough, but they also have to be a better choice financially in order to be able to support that kid. So
I think we have to stop expecting women to think like men and vice versa, right? So I'm not really, as men, we need to stop expecting women to make choices as men would make them. At the time that woman makes the choice that child support is better, then that's what she sees, and if it's a wrong choice or a right one, that's what that man is showing her. So at all times, we have to be a better choice, or we just didn't do a good enough job of displaying the vision to make her understand that this is what we're doing. This might be a rough patch or whatever. So I think step one would be to, stop creating single parent homes in the first place. You know what I mean? So I don't expect women to take charge in that. I lay that completely on the men to stop that.
Kelly, what you got?
So I'm speaking for myself. I agree with you, Trigger Man. I mean, Trigger Man, Trigger Mike. I agree with you. I agree with you, Prototype. We Black men do have to make. They got to be better choices. If I could redo life over with my first marriage, I would definitely redo it. Prior to us getting on this call, actually I was on the phone with Shay and she was like, "You're not gonna let the kids go up there with their dad?" I'm like, why? The man don't even call his kids. I need, like, I'm a sole believer in Black men are enough, but I need my children's father to show me better. Communicate with your children. You don't even, if something happened to your children today, you know nothing about, like, I need you to be the better choice. I need you to, like, when me and this man was going through our divorce, I was like, do better, Steven. You gotta do better. Be better than how your father was to you. And that's what I mean about goes back to like what we were saying about like if you could have that transparent, what type of father would you want right now? Like we're having a little girl, you know what I'm saying? They adore their dad, and that's the crazy thing is not saying that I'm gonna take that away from them. They adore a person that's not even doing for them. And I get the backlash of if they privileged kids. If I say no, because I was trying to get home tonight to get on this live, they getting upset with me because we're not going out to eat because I won't stop by Burger King, McDonald's. No, we're gonna eat at the house tonight. And I would Shay, call your dad. My son broke his cell phone that I gotta get fixed. Can you call your daddy to get it fixed? No. Like I get no assistance at all from this man. I get no assistance from the government. I thank God that he has shown favor in my life where I have had not to depend upon government assistance or this man. But when I tell you life be life in me, it be life in me. But he has shown me favor that I don't, I just want you to pour into your children. I don't even want your money. Just communicate with your children. Call your kids to check up on them to see what's going on in their life. I'm not even asking you for no money, sir. I can't even get conversation out of you to see, hey, Kel, how the kids doing? I'm not even getting that. So, like Prototype said, be the better choice. And especially like Black fathers, you gotta be present. You don't even have to be like me. I'm not wanting money from you. I need you to be present to pour life with words into your children, encouraging them. That's what I need you to do, sir. That's all I'm asking you to do. But I shouldn't have to beg a man to be a father. I shouldn't. But I feel like I get irritated with my kids, like it, and I don't know, and I really have to go into the new year praying strongly about this. Let me not get irritated with my children when they're asking me for stuff or getting an attitude with me when the simplest thing I say no to, because it converts back to me saying like, dang, I'm up here being a parent by my doggone self. So like life is life, and man, like Black fathers don't understand, like, and I know it's Black women too, maybe not deserving of being mothers, but it's like most times when the households are divided, it's because that man got to walk away. Okay. That man got to walk away while that mother had to stay and just dig deep and be everything to that kid.
You said men got to walk away, or
like that father got to walk away.
What? 75% of divorces are initiated by women.
That's a terrible stat, because men.
I'm
be honest. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say, Kelly. Then Dwayne.
My divorce wasn't initiated by me, but thank God.
I understand that.
Go ahead. When I'm able to reflect, thank God that it was initiated by him. Like I could be still suffering. Like, we want the Black father in the household, but it's like sometimes we're putting our children at a disadvantage when that father or that mother is out doing God knows what, and that household is not in a cohesive state. Like it's ineffective. Like you seeing seeing the mother doing her own thing, the father doing their own thing within the household.
I hear what you're saying, and no, I'm sorry, Dwayne was next.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in on this because y'all all making very valid points, and I believe I understand where y'all are coming from. I just noticed, like from the government standpoint, I just noticed this. So I try to be active or aware of what's going on in politics. So what I see now is, and I'll ask y'all this question: are women naturally predisposed to desiring to have kids or not?
Are you asking the women?
Yeah, anybody.
We're not
Like,
allowed to answer. We're men, according to Shay.
No.
That's fine, Trina Mike. I'm totally okay with that.
And I think that's the
No,
point.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's also another point that I'm trying to get to as well. So as for women, biologically, naturally, do they desire to have kids?
Yes.
I think when you're with someone that you love, like when you're within a marriage, you want to create that. So I would say yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
All right. So with that, can we logically say that it's not natural for women to desire to not have kids, or better yet, even desire to harm them?
Repeat that. I don't think I understand.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, are women naturally inclined to hurt kids or inflict harm on them, or are they predisposed to nurturing them?
It could be both.
Well, if you're talking about creation, then we were created to nurture, but I wouldn't say that there aren't women who harm kids.
So is it the norm for them to nurture and an exception for them to harm?
No.
It's the norm to nurture.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would disagree. I
think it's the norm to nurture.
I would say it's norm for her to nurture in the right environment, and I think it's more likely that she would abuse the child in the wrong one.
All right. So that's I appreciate that answer, Prototype. So the line of question is to get to the point of my observation. Whenever it comes to this whole pro-choice movement, women now are being empowered to have the choice to indiscriminately harm their offspring because of that choice that they have made. So instead of living with that responsibility, they now a switch has been flipped by something. And I would say that something is the government that now empowers them with that choice to say they can basically terminate a pregnancy and impact a life that they created with someone else that they gave the choice of laying with. And in the process as well, they remove the choice from the man, because whenever it comes down to it, does a man have a choice, or better yet, is the man injected in that as an option where he can say that he would like to keep that child, or has the women been empowered full forced in that department?
So we're not talking about the things that lead up to it,
Look,
but just after conception.
I'll say the man need to control his seed.
The man needs there is that the man does need to control his seed, but whenever it comes down to it, it's now the women in society are now being programmed, I would say, into having a desire of making a bad choice by sleeping with someone, or even the guy making the bad choice as well. We could give it the responsibility to the guy as well. But then I'm looking at it where women are now propped up and then the men are dropped down. And not only that, just like I forgot who said this earlier, it was Kelly, who they are allowed to. they are allowed to. So as for the men, I believe now men are being allowed to not have a responsibility in that common goal of making a child. So then the men now are allowed to say, well, hey, I don't have a say in it, when ultimately they do. The men are the protectors of the most vulnerable in society. So whenever I look at it from that standpoint, I do see huge, me personally, I see a huge problem in this from a governmental standpoint, because now we're going on to things that will then impact and affect generations. And men are taking, not stepping up and saying, I have a role to play in this as well, in this choice as well. So to your point, Prototype, ultimately that choice is his, whether or not to sleep with that person or not. But then from a governmental standpoint, they're coming in and interjecting and allowing this woman or women in this society to then freely say that it's my choice to.
So look, as a man, right? You understand the rules of the game. Play it to win. Don't allow the government to get in your business. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't put your seed in that woman, there's no government to play. Control your seed. Protect yourself. It's your seed. Like I grew up as an athlete, right? So I was conditioned to understand that girls are going to trap you. Girls might do this, like blah 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 blah. I always kept in mind to protect myself. Never force myself on a woman, because I watched all those different kind of movies where black men are taken, or being taken advantage of. Like I understood that. Control this. Yeah. This is my job. This is my duty. I have value here. So don't just spread your seed in things that you know might be corrupt.
So there's two things with that, Prototype. So I think as mature men, we'll never sit here and say, oh, don't protect your seed or nothing. That goes without saying. But I think in this manosphere space, we've actually stumbled upon something very profound when it comes to de-discipline. I would like y'all to know that de-discipline actually never existed, not in history. All right, so let me explain what I mean by that. There was always somebody standing in your way. We are animals by nature. That is our actual purpose on this earth, is to procreate. You will get aroused and want to do something to a female by nature. You're going to want to do that. When we had order and discipline, you could not approach a female and she would not let you approach her without the permission of her father. We had protocols for this. You couldn't go knock on a woman's door or a family's door and say, hi, is Tasha here? No, her dad's coming out there. What is your business here? State it. She doesn't go out with boys unless you want her brother to chaperone you. That's what used to be in the way of telling men you had to do something. You have to get a commitment from this woman before you have access to her body. We have never practiced dick discipline in the history of life. There was just protocol for you to secure access to that woman's body. Because if we were given access, and this is the other part of it, on the other side of town, we were practicing hedonism and flying by the seat of our pants, right? That other thing has always been going on downtown, right? In the brothels, like they used to call them, that's always been there. Now women are saying, skirt the protocol. I can make my own choices. I can do what I want. I can vet men myself. You see what I'm saying? And we said, screw the protocol. But now asking men who have access they've never had to box to be disciplined. Of course, you, I, and other mature men understand the worth of our seed. And it takes a lot. It takes a father's guidance. It takes understanding of how you will put your own financial future at risk. All of that, right? But it's a twofold problem. You see what I'm saying? It's absolutely a twofold problem. Restore order, discipline, and the need for women to get back into the structure of family where their father and the men in their family vet men for them and say that man's not good for you. I know what he wants. I've seen these suckers before, right? A woman asking for commitment before giving access to her body. So that's why I said men de-discipline, sure, in the way it's supposed to be done. Women not allowing access to their body before securing a commitment from a man. We can't have one without the other.
What you got, RJD? Sorry.
No, that's cool. I'm loving this back and forth because like this is where change happens. And I was sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, if we on both sides, right? I hear the man and then the woman, but if we both understood, like, yo, we're the same, right? We're the same creatures that just need to come together and accept each other for who they are and make each other better. I think we have this thought process in our head that the person we meet is supposed to be in this grand space already where they just take us and just make us better. The truth of the matter is I met my wife and we were in the same space and we made each other better. It's been 16 years, some rough, some extraordinary lovely. But at the end of the day, we made each other better because we were willing to take the journey with each other, knowing each other's faults, shortcomings, accepting them for what they were. Like there is no perfect person that's going to come into your space and make your world better. I don't know what this whole thought process is, this fantasy world, but we got to stop this shit immediately. It's killing us. It's killing families. It's killing people. See, this the thought process of someone walking in. Now, I'm a men's coach, and my name is the Imperfect Gentleman, and what I stand for is a man who's understanding his imperfections is not a man who's willing to stand in them as an excuse, but he uses it as an opportunity to make himself better. Each and every one of us has something wrong with us, right? Each and every one of us has some kind of twerk or something that's not considered to be right in the public eye. But the truth of the matter is, if we accept that, embrace it, and work to be better at it, we're a phenomenal partner to someone else. So all this going back and forth about the man and the woman is great conversation. But the truth of the matter is, in my own household and other households that I help coach, it's all about coming together and understanding where that person is and bringing them along the ride.
It's so for me, just like your name is Imperfect Gentleman, right? My name
Yes,
is
sir.
Prototype. You know what I'm saying? So Prototype is an unfinished project, but yet still something that should be modeled after. You know what I mean? So that's where I get Prototype from. I believe is I don't think men and women are the same. Women are women and men are men. And we need to stop thinking that women can think and process like men, because they don't. And women and men don't think and process like women to understand what they're doing and them not understanding us, right? But what men do understand is essentially we are in control of a lot of these things, and I believe like women just fall to leadership. They were made to submit and to fold into a woman who gives you everything. She gives a man everything when she loves it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what they do. And they can't. I don't think they can help it.
You know, Prototype, I'm so glad you said that because my wife and I had this conversation because if you know Clubhouse came out and that's where all the crazy talk happens these days on Clubhouse, and the one big trigger word is the word submission. And 16 years of marriage and relationship with my wife, I've never had the conversation. We've never had, baby, will you submit to me?
You don't have to.
And that's what I'm saying. And when you're in your place. So quick story, and I'm gonna lay my plane. So this man told a story. He says, this little boy, a 4-year-old little boy, and the dad's working in the office. The dad wants to get some work done, but the 4-year-old wants to play. So the dad looks around the office and sees a puzzle, a piece of paper. He tears a piece of paper in half and says, "Here, son, put this back together, and by the time you're done with this, we'll play." Now, the picture of it was a globe. The little boy takes the picture away and begins to work on it. Now, the dad says to himself, "I got at least an hour to 2. I'm banging this work out. I got to play with my son." The son comes back in the room 15 minutes later, y'all. He's like, "Yo, what do you mean? What are you doing here?" The kid's like, "I'm done." Dad's like, "Oh my God, I must have a genius on my hands. How did you put this globe back together so quickly?" He says, "Easy, Dad. All I do is put the man together." On the opposite side of the picture was a picture of a man. Moral of the story is, if we put the man back in the rightful position, the woman and everybody else has no other choice but to fall in line.
Who's we? Because it's other than the man putting himself in position. Women don't have to do nothing, but the man needs to step up and put himself in position.
But that comes from other men and community. That's what I was getting at. It takes a community of men, like you said earlier. Your boys helped raise you. You didn't do that on your own. None of us can do anything on our own. That's what I was getting at.
I see what you're saying, but like I said, my pod is about us putting us together or whatever. But men need to step up and be men, and then the women will just fold and fall into it.
That's
Let
what.
me let me add to this real quick because it's transitions because I value y'all time. So, but y'all are doing a really good job of kind of breaking some of these things down. And so me being on all these different pods, I went to go research for myself. Right, these things that we're talking about. Most of what I'm hearing is mostly based on what you feel. Right. It's not really based on, some of y'all are not based on logic. It's based on anecdotal information. And and when you have anecdotal information, that doesn't despair to or roll over into what is actually going on. Right.
Mhm.
So for example, when you say something like, yes, men need to step up, that's a true statement. But if that man is a boy, has a boy mindset, then it's going to take a lot for him to step up. If we're talking about, because this leads into generational curses, which is one that's plaguing the Black community for sure, which is single mother or fatherless homes, which goes into single motherhood, right? The thing that is missing, and what Trigger Mike was trying to convey, as well as Dwayne was trying to convey, is that a woman has the choice of who she allows in her body. You agree or disagree with that prototype?
To a degree.
I'm not. You're talking about extremes.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
No, I'm
watch
not.
it. So you're saying that a woman. Let me make sure I understand. So you're saying that there are women that are not incapacitated, that are of sane mind, that are not at liberty to decide who enters their body. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that their emotions doesn't give them the thinking ability that men are applying to them to make them think like, hey, you're making a choice to sleep with that guy.
Okay. So you're saying that a woman doesn't have the intelligence to know that when this dude is telling her something, that she's unable to understand that she's allowing them to sleep with them. That's what you're saying.
I'm
You
saying
really dragging this, HD. Like, come on.
I'm not
Real.
dragging it. This is
You're
this
dragging.
I'm
is what I'm
saying
saying. If we're saying that we need to hold men accountable,
I'm
that's a
saying
true
women
statement.
sleep with guys they think they have or whatever with. I'm saying we understand if we're going to be there or not. From the time we meet a woman, I know what I'm gonna do with her. You know what I mean? Before I even approach her, I already placed her where she's going to go. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
And
understand that.
so it's here's a quick story. My brother, he just proposed to his girlfriend.
Okay.
She said to him, she was pushing him to get married after about a year or two. They're a little older, not too old, but whatever. And he's like, he got a divorce. He's like, I'm not getting married again. So I said to him when he's telling me the story, like, oh yeah, girlie's pushing me to get married. And I'm like, nah. I'm like, so you know she wants marriage. She's not going to leave you. And you're talking about you're not. So what are you doing? You're wasting her time. Like, so either like let her go or move forward with her, give her what she wants. But I don't think women necessarily have the ability to make these choices that we do. Like I said, we
Then
know.
I just asked you that though, prototype. I said, do you feel like
But it doesn't
I
have
don't
to
think
do
it's
with
I don't think it's a
intelligence.
level of intelligence. I just think
Right.
it's a makeup of who they are. It's not a level of intelligence. I think it's to their
all right, watch
core.
this. Watch this. Watch this. Okay. Kelly, do you
Mhm.
feel like you're wise enough to know who you allow to enter into your body?
I am wise enough, but I'm with prototype on a man. If you know that you're not for this woman,
That's not the
and
part of the question.
okay.
The
I think
question is
about
because
I
You
he's
think
can't
saying
have a
that y'all
question
don't
of
have
0
enough,
variables though. Like,
but you
yes,
can't.
come on, dude.
I think I am wise enough to know who, like, if somebody is a crap bag and who, I don't want to say SHIT bag. I think I
Okay.
am wise enough to know. But at
Okay.
the surface of stuff, women, because we're emotional creatures, right?
Yes.
When a man enter us and feeding us all these things, the I love yous and I want to be with you,
Okay.
all this, when they're bringing their representative, not their true character,
Okay.
a representation of maybe what they want to be.
Yeah.
They bringing it to the forefront when they really not about that. You wasting my time if you really
So
not
you're saying
that
you're
guy.
not able to know, is what you're saying. All right.
Yes,
Cool.
we're not able
Shay,
to know.
Shay,
And vice
so you're
versa.
saying,
A
If
woman
Eve
might-
didn't know not to bite the apple when Satan came to tempt
listen,
her,
no, hold
don't
on
try
real
to
quick.
come at me and ask me.
Oh,
if
yeah,
I-
absolutely.
I have
Oh,
no
Prime
no.
example.
No,
Prime
no,
example.
let's talk
Prime
about it.
example.
Can I
Because
Oh,
ask
that
the
has
question?
nothing
Oh, no.
to do
Can I ask the
with my
question?
intelligence. Let's
Can I ask the question? Right.
don't try to frame a question to where it
You
supports
made
your
you
That's not
brought
that's not
even
framing the
to it.
question.
and don't label anything anecdotal just because
Look,
you
that
don't
whole
agree.
story. Let's talk about it.
Okay,
Eve ain't got nothing to do with it.
Prototype said that he doesn't think that women are able to make the decision. This is what he just said, right? He just said that most women are not able to make the decision who enters them. Did you say that, Prototype?
No, he didn't say that.
No, he
I said not entirely.
So,
Not
so what's the
entirely.
percentage then? Since we playing,
It's not a percentage thing. It's an emotional thing for them.
okay.
It's not a
why?
percentage thing. So if they get a guy and they think he's good, and that guy know he's not good, but she thinks he's good, she's gonna fold into it.
That's
I mean,
what I
it's
just
just
said.
so-
That's what I'm
so-
saying. Hold on, real quick, Trigger.
Yeah.
I got you. What I'm saying is because I agree that men got to do better. Like that's automatic. But what we're talking about when a man got to do better, I am saying that a man needs to know. Like a man and a man and a boy is two different things, right? So what I'm saying is that a man is going to approach a woman. If he is talking, a man needs to be on his purpose in the sense of I want to be married. I'm telling you my premise, what I'm talking about. Men need to be trying to get married because marriage does something totally different for a dude than him being single. That's number one, what I'm saying. Okay. Now, because of the generational curse where there's not a father in the home. Think about what you're saying. I'm really kind of agreeing with you to a degree, Prototype. Men, if a father is in a home, the father is able to say, daughter, that dude is not good for you, right? Why? Because as you said, Prototype, they make emotional decisions, right? They're looking at the wolf and thinking that the wolf is a good dude, right? They're not, you're saying that they're not able to. So then what you're saying is that it's the wolf's fault for doing what it is already programmed to do, and it's no responsibility of the sheep to stay out of harm's way.
sheep
That
have
is what-
shepherds.
That's
Wait a
right.
minute.
So what I'm saying,
They don't allow themselves to be shepherd.
Sheep
exactly.
have come on, man. Sheep
Go ahead.
have shepherds,
So-
and
so
they do
let-
allow
let me-
themselves to be.
Let
hold on.
Prototype go, Trigger. Let him respond to me, and
Okay.
then you can go. Okay.
So, like I said, sheep have shepherds, and they do allow themselves to submit to quality leadership. They're not gonna be submissive to a guy that they don't see themselves even being better than. Like, you know,
What's in front, but the narrative, the thing is though, Prototype, that there's a father there first. Like,
well, the father is a shepherd,
yes,
right?
but right now there is no father. It's just the wolf going after the sheep.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I agree. But
then
another
if
point I
that
want to
is the
make is men are not animals.
Yes, we are.
No,
They're
we're not.
literally called
We're not.
mammals.
We're not animals.
Yes, we are.
We have the conscious thinking of right and wrong. Animals don't have the thinking of right and wrong.
Okay, I got
We're
you.
highly intelligent animals.
Come on, man. We know right and wrong. Animals do not. That's the difference. No, they don't. They're taught. They're teachable. They're trainable. But animals don't know right and wrong like men do. Like that's just not his.
My dog will eat food off the table and
I
go
see what
hide.
you're saying.
He knows right and wrong.
Because you've taught him, you've trained him.
But we always taught though.
Regardless.
Yeah, we were all taught.
But AC, I really want to hear what you get into. Like,
All right, so this is what I'm getting to.
I wanna
This is
hear.
what I'm getting to. It is a responsibility of both, right? I tell you that. So it's the responsibility of a man to go get married and find a suitable partner, suitable wife. It is the responsibility of the woman, seeing as though there has been a downgrade of what marriage is. It's supposed to be a man and a wife, and then the father is supposed to help the daughter or choose the partner for the daughter. there has been an elimination of that. So since that's where we are, the woman has to be responsible enough to say, this dude is not to enter into my womb. The dude is literally that he's a no good dude, right? He's literally telling you things to get into your pants. So the question is, why would you sleep with the dude that is because you don't even know what I'm finna say. Why would you sleep with a dude that's not your husband?
Because he's articulate.
Why? Because if the dude puts a ring on your finger and he says we are married, we're going to get married, and we enter into marriage, right? We enter into marriage. It's a totally different situation.
I'm gonna say this, right? You ever hear a woman's list of what she looks for in a man? Any man can answer, right? I've heard plenty of women's list of what they look for in a man.
Okay.
How men judge other men is discipline and integrity. I've never seen that on a woman's list. But we know a disciplined man and a man with integrity, those are solid men.
Yeah.
Yep.
A woman will fall to somebody who is smooth talking, articulate, smells good.
That's exactly what I said to you. You think that women cannot make those decisions?
They can't. I've never seen, like I said, I've never seen discipline or integrity on a woman's list.
Okay.
At the top. That should be 1 and 2.
That's the reason why it's so important for a father to be there. You feel what I'm saying, right? You agree with that statement?
I absolutely agree.
Be the shepherd. So where we are now today is the shepherd is not there. Is that you agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
Okay, so if the shepherd is not there now, you're saying that it's the wolf's responsibility not to go get the sheep. That's what you're saying.
So you said it's okay for the wolf to go get the sheep. Is that what you're saying?
No,
we're not animals. We're not animals. We got animal analogy.
We're saying right now that the sheep is putting on lipstick and saying, "Come get this thing, wolf.
Come get it, wolf." Right? We're not.
Okay,
we're not animals.
Yeah, I've been waiting to make this particular
Go
point
ahead.
right on this note because it's important to. Everybody always talks about accountability for all men. Accountability is woven into society for all men. All laws were written to punish men, not women. All right, so that's one part of accountability for men, right? The other part of accountability is, do y'all realize every man's bloodline was not meant to be continued? Okay,
absolutely, right.
So when women say, well, men need to, no, not all men. They said it, men of value, men of integrity. These are the men that are supposed to be factioned off into society for women to choose from. Every other man is supposed to be an invalid until he makes something of himself and proves himself worthy. That's really a man's purpose in life. I need to prove myself worthy to get the things that I'm supposed to get. Do we not understand that if only men of value and men of integrity got ass, then every man would want to be a man of value and integrity? Or at least more men would want to be that, right? But it's not a requirement.
There are no fathers in the house.
Exactly. There's no requirement for that anymore.
So now the responsibility as it relates to sex falls on the woman. Marriage falls on the man.
It falls on the woman because no men are in the house.
Yes.
It still falls on the man.
Yeah. What you talking about? Well, okay, so we're gonna have to agree to disagree only based on facts.
We can't. Like I said, I'm only saying that because I grew up always thinking I'm gonna be of value, so I knew to protect myself from situations.
But see, that's the thing, Prototype. You are a man of valor and of a great character. Most men by nature are not that. They have to be taught that.
Well,
there is no, and we know this, right? If you yourself said that your coaches help you learn that. Without your coaches, you said that wouldn't have been a thing. So if there are no men, hold on real quick, Shay. So if there are no men teaching men how to be men, then they are going to be boys chasing after these women, right? And so because women have now said, they have now said that I'm able to give myself to whoever I want to. Okay. Ain't nobody about to tell me who I'm giving my cookies to.
They're going to give themselves to the best they see fit.
Okay,
And I'm
so
saying I'm
but
better
what I'm
than
saying
I'm better
is,
than the Doughboy.
No,
what I-
prototype. No,
what I'm
that's what
saying
we're
is,
saying.
what I'm
They're
saying
not.
is, what I'm saying is, they are not giving themselves to the best
Hold
available
on, hold on.
option.
They're not.
At-
They're to that to
no,
them right now. That's
no.
the best
Go
available
to the
option.
average.
Not to
No,
us.
go to the. If we go to the average woman on the street and ask her to show us her baby daddy, that will disprove the statement
That's
you just said.
that's at the time.
Whoa.
Look, what I said.
Whoa.
What I said is how we
Okay.
judge men is not how they judge men. So stop expecting them to judge men like that.
So, yeah, I
number
was gonna
two, number two, they don't see vision and future like we do. So we can look at a dude and be like, he's going to be trash down the line.
Yeah.
They cannot see that. They see what they see right now. They make the best decisions for right now.
We're finna come to you, Kelly. Let me ask you this
That's true.
question real quick.
I agree with that,
Prototype.
prototype.
Yeah, let me ask you this question, Prototype. So what you're saying is, like John Maxwell would say, is that success rises and falls on leadership. So what you're saying is that if a woman has a man sleep with them, it's the man's fault that he slept with her.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm saying that if women control access to sex,
You're expecting them to be a man to control that.
No. Men that don't have sex with women are practicing literally self-control. Why is it called self-control? Because nature would say, like the aspect of your nature is to go get as many as you want to, as many as you desire. That is the man's nature. To some women, right? True, right? But men's nature is to go capture as many women as they want to. If they are not doing that, they are practicing self-control. You agree or disagree with that?
I agree, but I keep making a statement. Stop putting women in the box that you
I
put
haven't even
men
talked
in.
about women. I'm asking you
You
about
have.
men.
You just
Right now,
did.
but right now I'm asking you about men.
You're asking about men because you're about to apply that logic to a woman, and I'm saying don't.
I'm asking you a question first.
Okay.
Right. So men are practicing self-control, right?
Mhm.
Men practice self-control if they are not out here trying to spread their seed. So what you're trying to communicate is we got to reach these dudes that are not men. That's what you're saying, right?
Essentially.
Okay. So that means overall, that's the practical point of what you're trying to make.
If that's the solution, yes. If that's
right,
what we need to
you
do,
said.
then
We
yes,
gotta-
that's what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying to you is I agree with that statement. I'm gonna tell you that point blank. And I talk to men. That's what this show is about. Dwayne tell you I talk. Listen, I talk bad to men more than I talk bad to women, right? But the thing of it is that there is a responsibility of a woman to know that they cannot let any man enter their body. That's on them because why? There is nobody looking out for them for their body because every men are trying to come get it, right? The only way that she can, I guess, the only way that she can do that is according to you, is if she has that shepherd in front of her. Because she doesn't have the shepherd in front of her, for example, if a bodyguard is in front of you, and somebody's trying to come get you, right? And that person steps out of the way, who is responsible of taking care of you? The person that's coming after you, or the person, or you? Right,
You are.
It is you as the individual. It's your responsibility to say, now, because that bodyguard is out of the way, I got to take care of myself. Go ahead, Kelly.
I think sometimes where, like people be like, well, you chose him, like you knew what he was. But at first, people don't be shit bags. They show you a representation of something different. You're shown a representation like of something different. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you don't know what I'm saying because you're a male. Like
Well,
no, I do know. I've been around dudes that just be talking.
There's two ways that can happen though.
On URGD after Trigger Mike.
You're showed a representation of something different, and so you're thinking you're laying down with this one person, then years down the line, you got the true character of the person now.
But
I
Yeah.
didn't had a kid
Look,
only
with the person now.
so
Here
we
it
hear
go.
that a lot in the
Here,
YouTube space.
here go the
Kelly,
generation curses. Here
yeah,
go a broken home
I
because
was gonna say we
I
hear
didn't
that a
lay
lot.
down with a representation of something that I thought it was falsified.
So Kelly, let me tell you, because this is my first time seeing you, in this space. If you go on these platforms, we hear that a lot, and I would caution you to use that because basically every woman claims dude switched up on them, right? Like dude switched up on me, that's why we're not together. But there's actually a psychological reasoning for what you're saying. Every 5 years, we go through stages where it seems like we're not or transitions where it seems like we're not the person we were before. It's called growth. It happens in marriages. It happens in friendships. You
Yeah, we all
change friend.
evolve.
You hold
We
on.
all-
You
we all
change friend
evolve.
groups every 5 to 10 years. Most women, especially, don't have the friends they had 10 years ago. You're not cool with them. Don't lie. So your husband, like that's the bad part. People expect their husband never to go through that transition. And as a woman, as a wife, you decide whether you're going to go through it with him or not. And that's what I believe because all these women are saying that is the literal definition of what's happening. He transitioned as any man is going to, and you decided, we have this Disney romantic fantasy thing about marriage in America.
Yeah.
Where he's going to be my Prince Charming forever. He's going to do the thing he did the same way for the entirety of life, and we're going to ride off into the sunset. Not the way it works. The number one thing that really sparks this transition is kids. Once you start having kids, whole thing changes, right? So that's why most marriages don't make it out of 5 years, the first 5 years, because a child is introduced within that first 5 years. So I just invite you to look at it that way so you don't get into that whole he switched up thing because we hear that so much and it's like
And
we know women switch up too, but we're not calling it that, right?
Sad to say,
So what do you
Trey,
call
he
it?
transitioned into a HOE. Maybe he
He's
already
crazy. That's what I
had
call it.
Maybe he already had the hoism in him. You know what I mean?
all right.
But he
Now check this.
transitioned into that. And
Let's see if
then
we can get a solution real quick.
You
All
know,
right.
that
That's
whole
RJD.
make
Come on,
words.
RJD. Bring it on
The
home.
hoism.
Come on.
All right, so check this out. So I tell a lot of people, especially on this space on the internet, is that
What's wrong with
it takes time.
Dwayne? What's wrong with you?
Everything takes time. Did Dwayne fall out the chair?
Yes.
Hey, my bad, man. I caught a cramp.
Oh, he was for real.
Now
Oh.
it's physical. It's physical and psychological.
Hey, my man. Somebody get that man a banana. Some
That's
water
for
or
real. Hey, go ahead.
Hey, so
Hey, I gotta walk this one off. I'll be
all right. Hey, so I lost train of thought. What was we saying? Just oh yes, time. So someone asked me the other day, when I married my wife, it was 8 years after I was living together, and people would say, "Oh, you dragged your wife. Why did you take so long to marry her?" The truth of the matter is, the way you avoid those what do you call those representatives is allow time to tell, because the truth of the matter is it's only but so long you can pretend.
Yes.
So before you go ahead and make that decision, that lifelong decision of creating another life, because I think that what happens is sometimes we get caught up in the cutesy, oh, that baby's a baby. No, that baby's a person that's going to grow into an adult that's going to drive you crazy without someone to help you manage. That's the truth. So the truth is the way you avoid those things is by taking the time to vet the person before you give your body, heart, and soul to that individual. Because what you say you are will only show at the time prove what you say you are.
Yo, that's deep.
That's good.
Add something to that?
I mean, that's good. Hey, Dwayne, do you want to wrap this up, bro? Because that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. People marrying people are marrying strangers. That's why marriages aren't working. You're supposed to marry someone. Listen, on the day of your wedding, you're supposed to get pulled in. If you were to get pulled in by the FBI, your new wife is supposed to testify like she known you your whole life and yell out not guilty for you. That's how well she's supposed to know you, right? You're supposed to be marrying people from your childhood. You're supposed to be marrying people you grew up with. These are the people's character you can attest to, right? Where somebody tries to disparage them and say, she's a real bitch. You're supposed to be like, no, you're just getting it wrong. She's been that way since middle school. You know, she doesn't like people. She doesn't like large crowds. You see when people talk about people like that, somebody that knows you that well won't easily leave you. It's that people like marrying perfect strangers because of that Disney fantasy I told you about. Oh, I met him and it was sparkles, and you know that's what people like doing.
Marriages aren't working.
I'm well traveled, so I see the cultures a lot. So you're basically saying people from other cultures who marry complete strangers are having the same issues that we're facing in the Black community.
No, they
Is that
typically don't
directed at me?
marry complete strangers in other cultures.
Is that directed at me?
Yeah, it's directed to you.
So what I'm
or
actually
anyone
talking
else on the
about,
panel.
yeah, what I'm talking about is either dating culture. If you're going to date, because dating is dumb. Courtship is what's supposed to happen, and vetting from your father or other men in your family is what's supposed to happen. But if you're going to date, like we're never going back to it in America, people are going to date. You need to date somebody you know well, very well. And it doesn't have to be someone from your childhood. It could be somebody you worked with for a very long time, went to school with, all through undergrad, stuff like that, right? Y'all went through transitions in life together, that type of thing. So the other form of it is allowing your father or other people to vet that person for you. You're talking about arranged marriages, which have a 90% success rate.
Facts.
That's how effective
studied
fathers
that
are
one.
at finding husbands for their daughters.
Right, but they are also marrying complete strangers because I have a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
friends
If
more
the
than a
man,
few
if your
who
father
are
picks
in
the
arranged
person,
marriages and they knew
exactly.
absolutely nothing.
If your father picks them, then you can eradicate what I said. But if you're picking them yourself, don't do that.
Got it.
This has been good, man. Dwayne, listen, you have something to say? You got the last word, bro.
Oh man, that's rough. So
Possibly.
you know, I go back to my Bible on this, and it says that God is the covering of a man, and the man is the covering of his wife. I look at that hierarchy from the conversation that we're having, and I'd have to say that if a man has God as the most important thing in his life, everything else will then fall into place. And I'd say whenever it came to Adam, God picked his spouse. He made Eve from him, and that was the design, because men were not meant to be alone. So I look at it from the standpoint of we are the ones then having the ability to cover our wives, but then who are we getting that leadership or that example from? So like from the standpoint we talk about the importance of a father. Some people don't have that, but then I look at my Bible, and my Bible says that we have a heavenly father, and that's my worldview, and I do believe it to be true, because even if you don't have a earthly father, or your earthly father was not adequate or present or even effective, my Bible tells me that we have a heavenly father who is highly effective because he was the one who made us. So from that standpoint, I then see if whenever a man abides by the word of God, then everything else will then fall into place. And as for being that instrument of that he's being using for culture, you're going to have a strong man who has a strong mind. But then also that transcends into the father who does have offspring, who does also then abide in the word of God, because then his offspring will then be taught those same ideological or ideas that their children can live by. And whenever I say it like that, we talk about they were, as for the wolf and the sheep, it says that Jesus is a good shepherd. So from that standpoint, like whenever he's raising men, he raises men to be protective of his offspring or of his family, most importantly. So I look at it from the standpoint, I'll jive with what Prototype was saying, from the emotional standpoint. But I do believe you made mention of we're not equal. I do believe it does say that we are equal, And you made mention of, being able to think and understand. And I think the ability of thinking and understand is what makes us in the image of God. We're intelligent. We have the ability to also create and to create offspring. And in that, I look at my wife as a compliment to myself, because I'm not in touch emotionally as she is. We don't operate the same. Men typically operate off of logic, and women, I will say, then typically operate off of emotion. But then I think those two things that come together are what are able to raise children or offspring to be well-rounded. If you have just one piece of that puzzle, you may just, some people may say, as a man, you lack emotion if you're just raised by a man, or if you were just raised by a woman, you're too emotional, some may say. So I do look at it that it is made for a balance. God made this to be a well-tuned machine whenever you have your offspring being raised by both a mother and a father, because we are not necessarily the same. We are able to think and we're able to understand. So with those two abilities to think and understand, we then can, in our imperfections, raise a more perfect offspring. And I think those two, the duality of the emotion and the logic, then comes together and is able to then build a more a stronger mind child, or healthier child.
That's what's up.
Amen to that.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, listen, y'all always acting like Southern Baptist preachers, man, because I be trying to get out at 10:15, and y'all be going after afternoon section, right? So I'm gonna let y'all go. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking up any tithes or offering. All right. But I really appreciate y'all time. Hopefully y'all join us back next week. This has been a dope conversation. Just let me
This
know
was
if you want.
so good. I had a blast.
That's a bet. Well, let me know if you want to be back, and we'll figure out what the conversation will be about next week. So, without further ado, I want to say thank you. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go check out Trigger Mike Show, Prototype, RJD, and Perfect Gentleman. Kelly, you got somewhere we can come holler at you, or you just lay low?
I'm a lay lower type.
That's okay. So you kind of like Dwayne. You like a lay low. Okay, you like anti-social media.
No. I'm not anti-social. I like platforms like this.
Okay,
I
bet.
really want to do something like this, but
Bet.
I just be with these kids all the time.
Okay.
Out here life and it's single parent. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. So hey, welcome back next week, of course. And Dwayne, he's anti-social media, but he's over there wrecking shop on with the photography. So if you need a photographer, go check out Dwayne. And then you got boss lady herself, Miss Shay McNuckles over there at Discovery Uptown. Is that right? Discovery Uptown?
Uptown Discovery Group.
I be saying it wrong every time.
Okay.
Uptown Discovery Group. And so if you need some tax information or advice, you can go check her out. All right. And so I want to thank y'all again. Until next time, we out here.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Good night.
Good night.
Have a great night, everyone.
Peace, family.
Deuces. What a phenomenal conversation. I enjoyed it. The banter, the disagreements, the coming to a point of understanding. The topic of discussion was, how do you break generational curses? And one of the things that are plaguing our community is the fatherless homes as well as single motherhood, which they run hand in hand. And I'm a proponent of family. I'm a proponent of a man and a woman being together to raise their kids. Yes, there's going to be struggles. There's going to be times where you don't like each other. There's going to be times where you don't feel like you love each other. But the ultimate goal is to have unconditional love, just like Christ has for us, the agape love. And that is what seems to be missing. Forgiveness, having peace, having the reconciliation mindset. The blame game is not going to be helpful if people are not going to take responsibility for what it is that they are doing wrong. So on a man's part, you need to be having a plan. You need to have a vision. You need to have a purpose, and you need to lay that out. And so the woman that comes along in that in that process, or you search for her, that she comes along with your program. Women, you need to stop giving up the box. That's what it is. And then find that dude. Don't let him finesse you. Send him through the ringer. If you need to get him to talk to another man, then that's what you need to do. We can't keep making excuses for why we make bad decisions when we know the right answer, right? I make bad decisions, and I understand that, and I have to be responsible enough and hold myself accountable to that. That's one of the reasons why Dwayne is my accountability partner, as well as Dez, and well as my mentor, Dr. Ron. I try to surround myself with men that I respect and that will hold me to a standard of the scripture. And do I fall? Yes, I do. I do fall. But at the end of the day, I want my Heavenly Father to say, you know what, I do see what it is that you were doing and how you were moving in a way to honor me. And I want my kids to see that. And I want people that know me to see that as well. And as for the people that come along and watch this episode, I just pray that you see the importance of a healthy household to bring up your family. And that's the way that we can close down some of these generational curses. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.